Hey, y'all, Elise Smith here, and welcome to the Socially Awesome Podcast, where we empower mompreneurs to implement simple social media strategies into their businesses and elevate their online presence. I'm a mompreneur of three, an affiliate marketer, a network marketer, an influencer, a social media marketing agency owner, and your personal guru. I am here to give you tips, tricks, and tools that you need to build your social media business. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Socially Awesome Podcast. I am here today. Obviously, I'm nervous. I am here today interviewing Kimberly Olson, the Goal Digger Girl herself. I'm very excited about this because if you've heard my story before, I found her through her podcast. And recently I got to be a guest on her podcast. So, of course, I reciprocated and was like, please be on mine. So I am so excited that you are here. Things have gone full circle in the last year. So thank you for taking the time out of today to do this with me.
I know, this is so cool. This is really awesome. And yeah, is my tech working? Because you're nervous. Don't be nervous. Like, I can't even get my microphone to work. So it's all good.
Right?
Thanks for having me.
The technology knows when something is important because it's like it just disrupts for the day.
Yes.
But like I said, I found Kimberly on her podcast about a year ago, and most of you know my story. So today I definitely want to share her story with you and just let her open up about why she left, corporate and her job and all the things and came into entrepreneurship. So tell me, or tell everyone that's listening a little bit about your story. I've heard your story. I still, every time I tear up. So why did you start the Goal Digger Girl? Where did it start?
Yeah, thanks for asking and having me on here. And I do love to talk about it because I think, you have a very strong social media presence. I've been on social over 5 years now. And I think that when we see people that are out there and they're doing it, we think that there's just some magic bullet, there's something we're missing and you can't be like them. And so I think it is important to share stories and, our why and where we came from. So I've been in the online space since 2011, but I didn't really, get into it until 2017. I had a few different things I attempted and nothing to make it where I could quit my job. I remember every time I print my resume off, I'm like, this is going to be the last time, the last time I'm getting a job or having to get a job, and we moved and different things. So I had my daughters back to back, a year and a half apart, and I was, battling over a decade of alcohol abuse. And so I was just hanging on by a thread. I had postpartum with both of them, a lot of depression, I was not in a great place. And so I had to get a job locally because I'd been let go from my corporate job before that. And 2 babies, daycare is very expensive here in Texas. And I felt like my back was against the wall. So I was commuting 2.5 hours a day and just not winning. I felt every day I would wake up feeling like I'd already lost. I felt like a failure as a mom. I wasn't present with my kids. The first thing I would think about when I would get out of work was, I can't wait to get home and have a glass of wine. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to pick up my babies and snuggle them. I just was not coping very well. So in 2017, my friend followed up with me 15 million times. And finally I was like, okay, I'm going to do your stupid network marketing thing because I have no choices. I was the worst recruiter ever probably. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to do what you say, but I don't know. It was so resistant. And I did what she said. I'm very coachable. And I made $1,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's half of the money, this is real money. And then, another $1,000. And then I made a check that was $200. And I was like, I'm doing it again. I'm self-sabotaging. This is a pattern. This is a cycle. But I think this moment of self-sabotage, it wasn't just me. It was I had these babies, husband, and we just had built our dream home. So I was feeling a lot of financial pressure as well. And so I just decided, you know what, I've got to overcome this alcohol battle because I can't be my best self and win if I'm hungover when I wake up, So I enlisted professional support with a therapist, and she does cognitive behavior therapy. So it wasn't just AA or something. It was really getting to the bottom of why. And so I learned that I didn't feel valuable, feel worthy, and that stuff can be passed on. Family stuff is real. And so working with her, I realized that I was good and I had value to offer and that I could do this. So I just started reframing my self-image of who I was. And I started seeing myself in the way that God created me, and one day I woke up and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So August 1st of 2017 was my first day of celebrating sobriety, and have ever since. But everything transformed after that. I really, I learned about social media. I got a coach. I really showed up. I wasn't just like one toe in the water. I was like, no, I'm going to figure this out. Like, this is the keys to the kingdom. I can break free of this. I can get my family out of debt. I can quit my job, all the things. And that's exactly what I did. So when I started on social media, kind of like your experience, people really resonated with the way I was sharing and teaching. They're like, oh, I love this. And so my following grew really fast. And so that spring, I launched Gold Digger Girl Co. Had my first boot camp. I did like 6 figures in 90 days. Like, it all happened really fast. But it was because, I had found my sweet spot. I found my people. It was really clear who I wanted to work with and all of that. And so we've grown it to almost $8 million in revenue. We have students all over the world. And there's many, many different things that have come of that. But yeah, so that kind of brings you to present day.
Yes. So I love the story. I love that you share that, it took you time to, figure out what is your vice, how are you self-sabotaging, because I think we all have some way of self-sabotaging. And I've shared a lot about my journey of, my unhealthy relationship with food. And that is, a way that I would always self-sabotage. And so I love that you share that and you're vulnerable with us for that. So thank you. Now I'm going to hit you with some hard questions because we want to grill you and we want to know all the things up here because most of my audience knows that, I enlisted in your program 1 year ago today, actually. I started in 6-figure business breakthrough. I signed up. It was on my Facebook memories and really just, that is definitely a piece that I recognized was I could spend 5 years doing this alone, wasting a bunch of money, figuring it out, probably end up giving up on myself because that was my history. I'm a chronic hobbyist. I'd always had a hobby, but never made it a business. Or I could get help and get a coach and just go through. So I love that you touched on that too, is like, once you decided to go all in, you got that coach and things have gone to $8 million in revenue. So what is something that you wish you would have learned or known before going all in? Like what was one mistake that you kept making over and over and over and your coach had to be like, okay, stop? Was it boundaries? Was it like, what is that thing? Because so many people in the audience are going to be that brand new entrepreneur. And that's one reason they're still making the same mistakes over and over instead of, moving forward. And you're so good at that. Like, we're going to pivot and we're not going to look back. So share with us what you wish you would have known or learned in the very beginning that would have saved you a lot of time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that from 2011 to 2017, 6 years of investing in coaching, going to conferences, buying programs, buying courses, having Kajabi, but no sales. The biggest difference and the thing that stands out to me is that during that time, I was doing the stop, go. So like when I got pregnant with Addison, I was like, oh, I must be, I still did stuff, but I'm like, I must be, present and be a mother. And when I had her, I was obviously on the struggle bus as I shared. So I was like, no, not now. And then I remember I went to a conference, so maybe she was 9 months old, 10 months old. Yeah, she was about 10 months old. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I got into like Brendan Burchard, something of his, and I was like, got back into it, went to a conference, did all the landing pages. And then, Elise, I was pregnant with Elise. I was like, oh, never mind. I'm just going to do that later. So the stop, go is real because what happens is there's always going to be something. It's going to be, you move. I mean, you would think like packing a child and getting him to college is like, people act like it takes 6 months. It's like there's life, it happens. And so what I did differently now, this last time around, is I decided that I was going to go all in until I cracked the code, until I like finally got my revenue replaced from my full-time job. And I was able to quit my job and put my notice in. I was like, I'm going all in, which meant I gave up TV. I didn't listen to music for 3 years. All I listened to was Dave Ramsey, like seriously. But I was able to like get it in my brain of like, this is how you make money and reduce your expenses. And I just gave up a lot of things. And yeah, I lost some friends over it. If you can't meet for happy hour, things change. Now I have friends like you that I know you would go to battle for me, So it is that internal decision. It's like, I'm going to figure this out, and starting to realize like you have everything you need. You might need a coach. Yeah. I will always have a coach. You need the guidance and the roadmap, but you have what it takes internally and making that decision. And I think for a lot of people, they haven't made that decision. They say they want it, but they're not like completely all in.
So many good things there, because first and foremost, I love that you said you will lose friends through the process, and it's sad, and you grieve for a minute about it. Like I sat in it for a while and wallowed, like, oh, so-and-so hasn't texted me in 6 months, and whatever. But and even family too, family, because family is very quick to, I don't want to say that they envy success, but their definition of success or what they want in life might be different. And so they don't understand what I'm doing, or they don't understand, why I am not available to take calls all day long, because I just sit here and do nothing, right? That's what they think. So it's just, you have to learn that, and you have to either be okay with it and be like, you know what, my goals and what I want for my family are first and foremost, and everything falls behind that. Or like you said, the people say they're all in, and then okay. So yeah, I love that you mentioned, there's so many things there, because I get asked that a lot, especially as a student of yours. I've had several other students in the program with me, and not just your program, but just in general, that has started online around the same time as me. And they're like, how are you having this success and we're not? And I'm like, they're like, what's your secret? The secret is me. When I said I'm going all in, I'm going all in. And that your secret is you. The Gold Digger Girl Co. would not be without Kimberly having shown up when there was one person on her Facebook Live 7 years ago, like keep coming, keep going. Right. So I love that you touched on that. So tell me a little bit about, because you're so good too at like visionary, being that visionary, and you really are the vision of your brand. And tell me a little bit about how you are able to be that vision and have your team help you with like the execution, because I know there's people that are listening that maybe it's time for them to get that VA or get that help. And you're very good at giving credit to your team as well when due. So how, what would you say to that entrepreneur that's listening, that it's time for them to outsource and get some assistance, and they're not, they've got that bad money mindset. Maybe they don't think they can afford it. I think you told me yesterday, spend the money, even if you don't have it yet, spend it, because it's going to keep you accountable. So I want to hear a little bit about that, because you're so good at that too.
Yeah. And you can attest to this. You're never ready for a VA. You're never ready to spend that money. You don't know how to train them. You're like, what would I give them? And it's just all these limiting beliefs that are not going to help you. I went from $250,000 one year to 1.1 million because I started hiring people, and I didn't have a million people. It was just like, okay, this person can grab these pieces, and they were part-time. And then this person can grab that, right? Ramping my VA up to full-time, but got her into more of a operations role. And so what you want to do is start thinking, okay, if you want to build a brand or a 6-figure company or multiple 6 figures, okay, who are you going to need? What's that going to look like? And map that out. And if you don't know how, there's people who do that, right? We can help you with that. And I want you to start filling those spots now, even if it's a part-time basis, with the intention that they grow. But when it comes to being able to, hire the people and do all the things, you want to start thinking about this. I heard this somewhere and it stuck with me ever since. There's a visionary, you have a vision component to your business, you have implementation, you have strategy, and you have management, and you could do no more than 2. Okay. So the visionary is the one that, plans and sees and knows what we should launch, a new product offers, or direction of the brand. If you don't have that, you do need vision within your company. So if you're struggling right now, and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing, you can hire people who can pull that out of you. That's part of coaches' gifts, is they can see in you what you can't see. So say you're a visionary like me. And then the other thing I'm really good at is strategy, really good at strategy. I know the implementation piece, I can do it, but does that make sense for me to spend my time there? And then the management, does it make sense for me to manage all the things? No. So I handle the vision and the strategy for our company. And then we have people who handle the implementation and the management. So you can actually have a VA. It does not have to be a full-time person. There are people out there that literally specialize in exactly what you need. So start asking the questions. connect with people like us that have networks, but also saying, what's the dream team? What could this look like for me? Because if you're spending your time, editing your reels and you're just like, I can't, this is the worst. That doesn't make any sense, right? You're not making money doing that. But if you can create great content and do lives and be in the DMs, you can maybe make some money that way. So just being in your zone of genius and spending time on that and then delegating the rest, it's going to set you free and avoid burnout.
I love that so much, because that is where I was a lot in 2022. And I think I boxered you 1,000 times, like,
it's great. Figured it out. Yeah.
It's midnight and I'm still doing this, but I had to, like you said, I had to commit to it and necessarily spend that money before I had it. What's funny is my money mindset was so terrible. I had the money. I just was like,
I'm glad you didn't. You're lucky you didn't tell me that.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was there. It was like there, but I was scared that, okay, if I spend it, then what happens when a client cancels next month and then I don't get next month's money? I was like almost envisioning failure before it happened and preparing for the worst. And I met my CPA this morning and was like, how much money do I owe in taxes? And she was like, can you stop? Like, you're stressed out. So if anything,
I'm glad you said that though, Elise. That's real. Like we do. A lot of us come from a family like raised a certain way, or we have that fear about money is real. Like it is absolutely real.
Yeah. And I still get it. I still shake a little bit. I mean, I like was shaking earlier when I spent $700 on groceries at Sam's, but it is what family's got to eat. And you're so good at reminding me about, and guys, get a coach. Like if you get anything out of this episode, get a coach. But like Kimberly has helped me on that level of like, you have $700 to buy groceries. Like how many people don't? How many people don't? My kids get the cookie, the fancy name brand cookies. Like they get that. And to them it matters because they got Doritos instead of, like that. That's what my kids really want. And that kind of brings it full circle of why I started this business. Originally, I started my business like you, for that flexibility. I remember your story about sending your daughter, to daycare sick, and so it's really surreal to be 1 year. And I'm so grateful for you. And just everything that I've got out of your programs, which leads me to, you have so much free value out there in the world for people.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. And that's like when I first found you on your podcast, and then I came over and I found you on social, which is what I highly recommend people do. And I'm going to let you tell people where you want them to connect with you. But I came over, I connected with you, and then everything has just molded from there. You and I are partners on several different projects now, and just gotten to learn so much from you last year, and just things can change. So tell us a little bit about where you want people to connect with you, how they can come find you. I know you're active on your own social. You have your team, but you are on your own social too. You're super active still, which I love. So tell me how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as you mentioned, we're working on several projects together. My favorite project working on with you is network marketing. So I came out of network marketing retirement because of you. So if you guys are watching or listening, you're just like, oh, I need to find my people. Come hang out with us, because we even have affiliate options for the company we've partnered with, which is Blatantly. We've both reached the top 3% of the company. So like, we're not messing around, but we can show you how the systems and tools that we put in place for our team, like let us plug in and still have lives and be with our kids and run our other businesses. There's just so many different things that we've done together, and it's been so much fun. And I'd love to be, my favorite place is Facebook. My personal profile, Kimberly Olson, come check me out. I have a Facebook group called Goal Digging Boss Babes. I think there's like 30-some thousand people in there. And then Instagram. So wherever you're, I'm on all the platforms, but feel free to say hello, shoot me a DM. I'd love to connect with you. But yeah, it's been so great to chat with you. And I'm so proud of you, Elise. I mean, I told you when I first met you, I'm like, you remind me of myself when I was first starting out. And just to see you like, okay, what about this? What about that? Like you implement so fast. You've implemented so fast that sometimes you forget, like, oh yeah, I launched that course 2 weeks ago. Like it's like, it's just so impressive to just take action. And you have every reason to not, and you find a way. Like it's just so commendable. And you're just getting started. I mean, just a year in, I can't even imagine what you're going to create in the next 5 to 10 years. Like global domination, my friend. So kudos to you. You're doing such a great job, and I'm really happy to be in your life.
Thank you. And you're right. I mean, it is hard to, or it's easy to forget. You corrected me several times when I skip over small wins, and I'm like, well, there's about this many people in my group or whatnot. But it feels good to be excited about what's to come, and that's what's been missing for the last, I don't know, last 10 years. It's been excitement for the future, so man, we're gonna rock it, and I'm so excited about it. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Y'all go connect with her. I mean, you can learn so much just from being connected with people and their content, and just let it speak to you. And Kimberly has, like I said, so many different projects that she has worked on. I learned so much about multiple streams of income from her, and just my future's been set up. So go stalk her on social so that you can see all the goods for yourself. So thank you so much for joining me today. And until next time, guys, make it simple, make it social, and make it awesome. Bye, guys.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I'm Elise Smith, your host, and let me tell you how you can get a free social media audit from me. Make sure that your profile is optimized and you're ready to build. Take a screenshot of you listening to this episode, throw it in your stories and tag me. You can find my handle in the show notes. I will share it to my entire audience, and you will be entered to win one of the 5 free audits that I'll be doing every single month. Number 2, if you found any value out of this episode or any of my episodes at all, please feel free to leave a review. It is the best compliment you can give. Lastly, make sure you check out the link to get into my free community, Socially Awesome Entrepreneurs. It's in the show notes. We go live in there weekly with guest trainings and more. Until next time, make it simple, make it social, and make it awesome.